After all that, we still don't know who stabbed Gary, y'all. But hey, y'all, welcome back to another review of Life of Chester for Tyler Perry Sistas, Season 8, Episode 16. Okay, y'all, so first things first, let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Look, I said Watts don't care who he pinned it on. I said, how you gonna tell these folks they got 24 hours to come up with a name or give him a name, or he's going to pin it on them? I said, pinning it on them means that you're gonna falsely accuse them. But okay, y'all, it's a continuation of last week's episode where Watts done came to these folks' house over here accusing them or implying stuff. He ends up telling them that, Gary told me this. Gary told me you held a knife to his neck. Gary told me, was talking to Zach, saying that Gary told him that he had an altercation with him or whatever. And I said, he just hoping they would slip up. He was hoping that they would slip up, y'all. Andy ends up revealing to Miss Marie that she's unsure about returning to the company or whatever, and that's when she started to motivate her. She ends up saying, I chose you or whatever. That's the whole reason why she signed on to Benson. I still forgot these folks. Benson and Leland or something like that. But yeah, Andy ends up saying she's tired of fighting, and that's when she started talking about Danny. Look, she done sit up here and told everybody business, look like. But yeah, she ends up saying that Miss Marie reminds her of Danny or whatever. Then she was like, tell her more. And she ends up saying that Danny been having these panic attacks lately. See, you can't tell about nothing. This lady, but I did say, or will say, that I enjoyed that whole scene where Miss Marie was telling these folks, what she thought by using, everything she's heard so far about them or whatever. Will they take her advice? Probably not. But she ends up telling her that giving up is not an option, and that she allowed Gary to do what he did. I said, about time somebody tell her. Because didn't they have a whole little scene where Sabrina was like, no, it's not your fault. You didn't know. That was when the Penelope situation, when they first met Penelope, wasn't it? But yeah, let's see. Miss Marie ends up telling Annie to call all her girls and tell them to come over. Danny and Tony. Basically, he ends up letting Danny know that he's been alerted that a rep wants to talk to both of them or whatever. And I feel like they still not taking it seriously. Then you got Sabrina over here. I said, you just gonna tell everybody this man's sperm is not valuable? I said, oh my freaking goodness. She done sit up here. I think she had already told Maurice. Then she told the money. Then she sit up here and told all the sister circle and Miss Marie that this man's sperm is not valuable. I said, Sabrina, you tripping. But yeah, Maurice ends up asking Sabrina what happened, if she's gonna decide to use the money, sperm, or what. And that's when he showed up. The money ends up telling Sabrina that the article that he wrote about her is getting so much attention. So much so that corporate wants her to represent the bank in, what did they say, Turks and Caicos? Karen and Miss Lisa. So basically, Karen ends up telling Miss Lisa that Fatima ends up stopping by, or she ended up stopping by or whatever. But they actually had a nice conversation. What Miss Lisa said, maybe this time they can actually stick to, getting along. I said, right. Jordan, Penelope, and Rich, they was all at his place or whatever. And Jordan ends up saying how he doesn't want to talk about Gary. Is that the scene where he at the table or whatever? I said, you got a little temper, don't you, sir? I said, did you do it? But yeah, he ends up telling them he doesn't want to talk about Gary. So that's when Rich started to tell Jordan and Penelope what the doctor said and everything. And they basically was encouraging him. Did they end up going back to it? Oh, I forgot a part. Penelope ends up getting a text message from Robin saying that he wants to see her to talk about the case. Zach, Fatima, and Watt. Look, I've been calling him Watts or whatever, but he revealed on today's episode is Watt. I said I've been calling this man Watts and everything. Sometimes Watts, sometimes Watts, whatever his name is. He over here, he need to hurry up, get up out of here. But yeah, he's still over here harassing these folks. To my son, I could get a warrant if I need one. But they were still telling him, they innocent, they didn't do nothing. And he was like, why should I believe y'all or whatever? So Zach had the bright idea to show this man the doggone board. Tony and Rich, I said Tony and Rich. Tony and Danny end up meeting up with the rep or whatever. So she reveals to them that somebody complained about them, about their relationship or whatever, that Tony is accused of showing favoritism to Danny. But yeah, he's being accused of showing favoritism to Danny or whatever, getting her into that doggone program that she never even wanted to be in the first place. So he was like, I wasn't showing no favoritism to her. She deserved it. I said, now doggone well, right in that moment, he should have got in trouble because it cut off, y'all. What was we talking about? I think Tony and Danny. The fact that he was showing favoritism, he got her enrolled in this program. He was like, she deserved it or whatever. I said, next thing you know, they're going to bring up the fact that he put in PTO for her. Andy ends up calling Karen basically to tell her she going to leave her on speakerphone, or she need her to be on speakerphone when they had his sister circle meeting. But Karen was like, I'm coming or whatever, so she ends up going over there. Rich ends up revealing to Jordan that he's worried that Sabrina going to use the money sperm. He also ends up revealing to Jordan that he believes that the money wants Sabrina. I said, fact, he definitely does. Jordan tells him to just go there to talk to Sabrina. So this man showed up, and I said, oh my freaking goodness. I said, well, the way they showed on the trailer last week, it looked like he came in at the same time where the money was saying that he would give her his sperm or something like that. But he was outside, looked like he was outside waiting, listening and stuff. Fatima ends up asking Zach what he doing because he walked over there to show this man the doggone board. I said, obviously, this man don't care nothing about who actually did it. He still, first it was Andy. First he was accusing Andy. The next thing you know, well, Penelope went over there talking too much herself, though. But yeah, he doesn't even know who did it. Obviously, that's basically what Fatima was saying this episode. But Fatima, she knew her stuff, y'all. She knew he was trying to run game on them. So she let him know that Penelope had been released or whatever because basically he didn't have enough to make it stick. He was like, Penelope's not in the clear yet, and neither is neither one of y'all. I said, dude, go somewhere. Please go somewhere. But after she proved that she know her stuff, he talking about some, Andy taught you well. And she was like, no disrespect to my girl or whatever, but I taught myself. I said, that's right. Look, and not Fatima, Zach kept mentioning this episode, Taylor. Her last name is Taylor. But yeah, Zach ends up showing this man the board. He didn't even get a good look to see it. Otherwise, he would have seen. Didn't they put up there that Tamara and Gary had slept together or whatever, and that gives Hayden a reason? He didn't even look at it. What you coming there for then? But yeah, he ends up saying, they got 24 hours to get him a name, or he's gonna pin it on them. I said that alone should get you in trouble, sir. The money and Sabrina. So basically, he was trying to check on her, see what was going on. She ends up revealing that Rich didn't back out because he assumed that Rich backed out. So I was like, I can't believe that guy, whatever, and all this other stuff. She ends up telling that Rich sperm is not viable. I said, now why would you sit up here and tell him that? Then went by the end of the episode and told everybody that was there. So it was Miss Marie, it was Andy, it was Danny, it was Karen, and it was Fatima. So you don't tell all these people this man business. What if he didn't want them to know? But he did tell Jordan and Penelope, but that's his truth to tell. I about to say story. It's his truth to tell, so he has a right to. But you didn't have no right to. You had a right to express your feelings. Fatima ends up telling Zach, or questioning him about why he did that or whatever, that he wasn't supposed to tell why anything. He's like, he was just trying to protect her and Michael or whatever. I said, that's the way they get you. That's the way that the detective dude or whoever he was try to get Zach. But I said, he just want them to do his job for them. And like I said, by the end of the episode, we still don't know who stabbed the man. Like, what? We could be on episode 17 next week, and we still don't know. It's been a whole season where these folks ain't told us who stabbed this man. Miss Lisa and Pam, look. Look, how she gonna leave the shop unattended? These folks could walk in and out. But yeah, Miss Lisa ends up stopping by the salon to check on Karen place or whatever, see if Pam doing her job. And she walked in the office. I said, if you gonna do that, you supposed to lock the door. I said, wasn't she sitting up here sleeping with other men? Not other men. But didn't she have another dude that she was sleeping with at Karen first salon? I think she did. But yeah, Miss Lisa walks in on them and tells Trey to leave or whatever. So Pam asks her not to tell Karen because she just started to trust her and all this stuff. So she was like, she not gonna say anything, but we'll see next week if she actually does. Miss Lisa talking about some, he was kind of cute though. I said, really? I think Karen and Sabrina made it to Andy's place at the same time. I said right on time. At first I had to cut it out. But yeah, Sabrina ends up seeing Miss Marie or whatever, and she told her that she was her biggest fan or whatever. Miss Marie said she heard great things about Sabrina, Robin, and Penelope. So basically they were sitting there talking, and he ends up revealing to her that he got her confession thrown out. So I was like, okay, if he don't have a confession, that means he don't got no case against her. Penelope ends up revealing to to Robin that she doesn't remember what happened. So he suggests that she talks to a therapist or whatever. She ends up asking him what happened between him and Robin. What happened to him and Robin? What happened between him and Andy? I said, girl, okay, at this point. Y'all remember that scene where we thought, y'all know how it go. How we thought that Penelope did it based on the end of that episode where she was in the car and he was like, are you here to finish what you started or whatever? I think I got it wrong, y'all. I don't think that's the scene I was talking about. I think it was the scene where I think it was after Penelope slapped Andy. I can't remember. Remember, she was like, you and Gary gonna find out soon enough or something like that. What was she talking about? I said, I know who did it. I done solved the case. It was Jordan and Penelope. That's why she over here too much. She don't remember. And he seems to remember her having blood all over her hand. I said they came up with this plan to get back at Gary and Andy themselves. That's what it is, y'all. I done solved the case. Nah, I just playing. They probably gonna tell us on episode 19 who did it for real, y'all. But yeah, let me see what else. I think at this point all the girls had made it. Miss Marie ends up telling Sabrina that there's more sperm in the bank. Cause she ends up revealing, she heard about her wanting Rich to, give his sperm or whatever, and then she had another guy who was gonna give his sperm. In some type of way she put it. Dog wanted to write it down because she was right. Because originally he didn't want no kids. Look, everybody been talking about the same thing. I said that. I said he actually didn't. Speaking of Rich, I think I skipped the part. Did I talk about the part where he walked in on them? But he had walked in after the fact or whatever. So apparently he was on the outside listening or whatever. Because he came in, he was upset or whatever. And he feels like this is exactly what Serena wanted, which is true technically. But at the same time, can you be upset knowing doggone well you don't really want this? This is not what you wanted for real, for real. So basically, the whole scene with Miss Marie and the girls or whatever is about her telling each and every one of them, something about themselves and then flipping it to make it positive or whatever. She ends up telling Karen, despite, her situation, she needs to start focusing on building the family of hers. That's when she ends up saying, I'm actually starting to have feelings for, the baby's father or whatever. The look on Fatima's face is she was like, not Zach or whatever, talking about Aaron. She ends up telling Fatima to make sure that Zach is uplifting her as well. I said, look, Andy done told every doggone thing. That's why you can't tell folks nothing. But she ends up saying it's time to put struggle love to rest. Look, I wrote that part down because I was like, right. I was like, right, because I feel like society has definitely normalized struggle love. We ain't saying that you're not going to go through ups and downs and stuff like that. But the amount of stuff they telling you that you telling us that we have to put up with is crazy. It's crazy or whatever. But yeah, who's the last person? She ends up telling Danny to keep up going to therapy and everything like that. She mentioned the fact that she been having panic attacks, or she had a panic attack because Andy over here snitching and stuff. But she also ends up telling Andy, and that was the doggone end of the episode. Y'all know how they leave us with a cliffhanger. The end of the episode was when she ends up telling Andy that she got 1 week to get back to work or whatever, or she gonna go tell. She told Andy that she got 1 week to get back on top at Benson and Leland or whatever the name of their company. Or she gonna take, not only is she gonna take her business elsewhere, but she gonna tell everybody that Andy a pitiful little wimp that rolls over at the first sign of trouble. I said, well, dog. But yeah, that's it. That's all that happened. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time, do tell girls the name you say.